Hey everyone, Richard Robbins here. Well, the numbers are in for the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver up to the end of November. Now, at the end, what I've done is put something a little different in, as I always try to do, is I'm going to show you a breakdown of what percentage of each property type is making up the total sales. So I hope that you find that helpful. First of all, January, now through to the end of November. So let's look at where we are. November, we did 2,498 sales. How did that compare to October? We did 2,858. We were down by 12.6%. Pretty normal, right? As we go into November, December, our sales will start to drop. But what about active listings? Where were we at the end of the month? We were at 10,770, opposed to we're at 12,236. So we're down by 12.6 in terms of sales. We're down by 12.6 in active listings. So what should be happening to months of inventory, right? You should be exactly the same, which we are. You can see we're at 4.3 in October. We're at 4.3 here in November. Remember, 4 to 6 is balanced. Above 6 is a buyer's market. Below 4 is a seller's market, which means what should be happening with our prices? Nothing, right? They should be almost exactly the same what they are. But here's some really good news for you. Look at this. 2018, you did 1,608 sales. 2019, you did 2,498 sales. That's an increase of 55.3%. Massive number. That tells us what? The market is moving in the right direction. What's happening? Our months of inventory have got into balanced territory. Our sales are starting to go up. Year over year, prices, we were just over $1 million, now we're at $994. Now you might say it was balanced, Rich. Why would the prices be weakening? Because here, look at your 9.8 months of inventory. Remember, above 6 is buyers where prices start to weaken. Most of the year, you're in a buyer's market. 9.8, 7.8, 7.4, right? We balance here back into a buyer's market, balance right on the line, right? And now we're starting to move where we're sitting in a balanced market, get below 4, we're going to be moving into a seller's market. So that's why your prices are down year over year, because most of the year you were into a buyer's market. Here's your months of inventory. Look at 2017. We had just above 4 months of inventory. Look at down here to 2. Market was really busy. Obviously, that was a few years ago, right? And we ended at 3.5. 2018, where did we start? We started here just below 4. Then what happened? All of a sudden, we started to go up, right, up. And then we ended at 9.6, and of course started this year at almost 10. But now look what's been happening, everybody. Bounce around and look what's going on here. Hey, we're moving the right way. Your market is finally starting to recover. So I think the outlook for 2020 is actually pretty good right now. Have a look at this. This is interesting. This is your sales breakdown. So if you think about it, of all of the sales that took place in November, 33% were detached. Now this is interesting. I just did Calgary and Edmonton, and 60% of their sales were detached. Why? It's all price. If people can't afford detached, which they can't in Vancouver, in a lot of cases they buy apartments. 50% of your market, okay, are condo apartment sales, and townhouses sitting here at 18%. Now let's look at this. This is a Fraser Valley. Fraser Valley, 36% was detached, right, opposed to 33. Why? Because it's slightly less expensive. So in other words, more people can afford to buy a detached, but not a lot more people can afford to be buying a detached. So it's really interesting when I look at these numbers. But look at this. Here's your average price. Detached, your average price, and this is in Greater Vancouver, was 1.4. Let's look at Fraser Valley. It was just $1 million. So you're about 400,000 higher. Townhouses, your average price was $772. Okay, if I look at Fraser Valley, you were $566. That's a difference of about $200,000. And of course, condo apartments, your average price was $651,000, opposed to theirs was $386. So a dramatic difference, but I thought you might find that interesting. These are great comparisons you could be using in a listing presentation, maybe working with buyers when they're trying to decide where to buy. We're coming into 2020. When I do the report at the beginning of 2020 in January for the whole year, what I'm going to be doing next month is I'm going to compare the total sales of 2019 to 2018 and 2017. Plus, I'm going to give you what's going on with the average price for all 3 years of every property type next year, which I think will be great information that you can use talking to buyers and sellers to help them see what's going on in their market. At the end of the day, everybody, remember, it's a beautiful life. Make it count.